Good morning students, I welcome you all for the online class of economics. Today I will be going to continue the chapter which I had left in the Saturday class. Today we will be going to learn the mixed economy benefits as we completed the meaning of mixed economy and its features. Let us start with the mixed economy, its advantages. When we talk about mixed economy advantages, student, some of the points we already dealt in the last class. Mixed economy benefit is that it gives proper scope for full play of private initiative and profit motive. Freedom of enterprise and price mechanism are allowed to influence the allocation of resources and efficiency in production. Okay, what it says that students, mixed economy, what it gives proper scope for full play of private initiative. Means private sector, it had given more initiative to start new business, to give more opportunity to the people for getting the job, and as well make profit for the nation. Freedom of enterprise and price mechanism are allowed to influence in the mixed economy. Plus planning mechanism is also introduced in this economy. That is the good advantage. Both the mechanism is given importance. So allocation of resources will be with the planning mechanism, not with the price mechanism. Social interest and welfare motives replaces self-interest and private profit in the public sector. Planned economic development means the economic development of the whole nation will be done in the planned economy, which makes stability and balanced development of the whole nation. Competition between the private sector and public sector industries is generated to maximize the productivity. Presence of both public sector and private sector is an effective compromise between the two extremes of market economy and controlled economy. So that is a good thing about the mixed economy, that here presence of both the sector will be seen there. Next comes demerits of mixed economy. When we come to the demerits of mixed economy, student, let us see the demerits. Very first is fear of nationalization. When we talk about demerits of mixed economy has fear of nationalization, here it is said that completely it can be price mechanism and completely planned economy can be a disadvantage for the mixed economy. A serious criticism against mixed economy is that it may not remain a mixed economy for a longer period of time. Some of the thing can be make dictatorship either from the socialist economy or either from the capitalist economy. So that must be looked after, otherwise it can be a drawback for mixed economy. The public sector generally depends or expand to such a large extent that it takes over the private sector. Also mixed economy cannot effectively control the private sector industry which are outside the government purview. Now comes inefficiency and corruption. When we talk about inefficiency and corruption today, here it is another drawback of the mixed economy, that here mixed economy is also characterized red tapeism, bureaucratic in nature in socialist form. When we are doing when government is having full control, all the work will be done in paperwork, so it can be a disadvantageous. Red tapeism can be seen. High degree of corruption, definitely when political parties are involved in this type of economy, corruption can be done, and absence of competition will be there. This leads to why absence of competition. This is also just because of public sector which is doing for social welfare of the country, not for the economic development. So when we are seeing the absence of competition will be there, which can in future can create a problem for the nation. This leads to slowing down of economic growth, wastefulness and economic inefficiency. Next comes concentration of economic power. When we talk about concentration of economic power, student, here comes mixed economy result in emergence of modern big corporation which exploit small producers, okay, workers and consumer. How could? Because privatization is there, and more private sector to get more profit, they can deploy this type of small traders. Thus there is concentration of economic power in the hands of private sector, politicians and top bureaucrats. Next come economic planning, student. When we talk about economic planning, India achieved independence in 1947. We come to know at the beginning of the chart it was introduced though. So economic planning started after the constitution was framed, and in the law it was seen that a planning must be made so that to make development of the nation. All around the development of the nation cannot be done. So because of that, some of the terms must be taken in some of the plan and some terms in another plan. This way, if we will be trying to achieve, definitely we will be able to make development of the nation. So let us see economic planning how it came. The colonial government, means the British government, left India in the poor, backward and stagnant situation. That is not unfamiliar with you people from after learning economic introduction. From that time, efforts have been made to solve people's problems in a sovereign Indian Republic through a system of federal parliamentary democracy. Democracy came, people got rights to vote, they got the right to put the put the problem before the parliament so that solution can be taken. So political independence has no meaning without economic prosperity. Planning was undertaken to sustain political independence and generate economic prosperity. Next come meaning of economic planning. When we call about the economic planning, student, it means planned coordination and utilization of available resources in an economy to achieve certain predefined social and economic objectives in a time-bound program. Planning itself is a time-bound program because it is made for a specific time. Either we have to achieve the objective in the given time, or else we have to make second plan to achieve the objective. Because timing planning, when it crosses the time limit, it is of no use. So economic planning is also framed for such a purpose, so that in a small time period only, though it is small time period, but still we will be able to start making solution for the various problems of the economics. So that's why I said it is a time-bound program, pre-specified social and economic objective what we all have to achieve in that specific period of time. Mainly it was of 5 years time. So in the beginning there were many planning which were of 7 years also, and some planning which of annual, that means 1 year. According to Jawaharlal Nehru, economic planning does not simply means making a list of activities to be followed, nor it is political idealism. It is one of the most popular creed of modern times. It is a superior way of developing an economy. It is essential to ensure quick building of the productive capacity of an economy. Definitely, economic planning is very important, so that because political leaders what they are doing, how much they had achieved, how could the general public can come to know, though they are living in a democratic nation. So for all this, what is needed? Proper planning is needed, from which we can come to know that what we have achieved. Next come economic planning. Economic plans helps in taking major economic decisions, what and how much to produce and to whom to be allocated by the conscious decision of determinate authority on the basis of comprehensive survey of the economic system as a whole. So economic planning helps in taking major economic decisions, that what, how much to produce and for whom to it to be allocated, so that by conscious decision of a determinate authority, comprehensive survey can be done. In 1950, Planning Commission was set up under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru. So economic planning helps in taking major economic decisions, what and for many other problems. So that can be solved, so that economic problems can be solved. In 1950, Planning Commission was set up under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru, and then the first Prime Minister of independent India. Sorry for the disturbance, students. Let us continue with the topic. As I was teaching meaning of economic planning, in that it has been clearly said that planning was framed so that we can come to know what the political parties are doing, what the money utilization was done with this economic planning. So in 1915, Planning Commission was set up under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru, and he made the planning and we had got the first planning under the first Prime Minister of independent India. He said that we will be making some plans that must be achieved in the given period of time, so that people can come to know what achievement India is doing with their money and with the money of private sector. So that was the thinking of making economic planning. Economic planning, once again I want to tell the meaning. It means planned coordination and utilization of available resources in an economy to achieve a certain pre-specified social and economic objective in a time-bound program. Planning Commission of India, let us have the knowledge. In 1950, Planning Commission was framed, we come to know. Now let us see how it framed. The Planning Commission was set up by a resolution of the Government of India in March 1950. Okay, after the constitution form, under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru, in pursuance of declared objective of the government to promote rapid rise in standard of living of the people. What was framed? Planning Commission was framed. Okay, so that the various problems of the economy, that is what to produce, how to produce, and by whom it must be produced, and various services to the society can be provided. Let us see economic planning more. According to States Planning Commission, it has been said, economic planning means utilization of country's resources into different development activities in accordance with national priorities. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948 and in the directive principle of the Indian Constitution assigned a leading role to the public sector in the development of economy. So there were the two things who had helped to make the economic planning of India to be success. Time period of planning in India, let us have a short format of that. When we see economic planning in India, the first plan you can see in the format, it came in 1951 to 56, second plan 1956 to 61, third plan to 61 to 66, annual plan you can see year wise. Some are of 5 years, some are of 6 years, some are of 1 year, a maximum are of 5 years. It's okay. So these were the various plans. It made one by one. It is not like that as we are seeing. It made year after year. After 56, they decided again 5-year plan. So likewise, it was framed. Okay, so prime period of planning in India, India has completed her 10th 5-year plan and the 11th 5-year plan has started. It was about 2011. Now again the more plans has been made by India. A plan is a document showing detailed scheme. So you can see the detailed scheme now in our future studies. Now we can see planning objective versus plan objective. See here student, planning and plan are two different things. To achieve the planning, we are making some plans. So there are the small things which we are making to get the main plan to be achieved. Okay, so planning objective refer to long-term objective to be achieved over a period of time, 20 years. The main duration time is 20 years. It is also called perspective plan also. The basic of perspective plan in the 5-year plan, main planning objectives are growth, modernization, self-reliance, equity. Now comes student plan objective. Okay, when we see plan objective, it refers to short-term objective to be achieved over a period of 5 years. As I already said, it is a plan which will help us to achieve the planning objective. Plan objective are sector specific. Different sectors are there, agriculture, industrial. So according to that, by seeing that particular sectors, we are making the plan. In the first 5-year plan, the stress was on development of agricultural sector. In the second 5-year plan, it was on development of heavy and basic industries. Though different goals are emphasized in different 5-year plan in India, they all aim at achieving term objectives of growth, equality, and the various objectives of the state. So there are the just plan which help us to achieve the planning objective. So may I think planning objective and plan objective is also clear to you people. Now comes the difference between planning objective and plan objective, so that it will not be having a confusion in the future period of time. When we talk about planning objective student, there are long term objective to be achieved over a 20 years period. When we talk about the plan objective, it is of short term period, has been learned 5 years. And planning objective are the general goals to which we want to. Their general goals means the main goal for which we want to attainment of goals. Plan objective, when we talk, it is sector wise specific goals. There are planning objective, there are common to all the plans for all the achievement, like for economic growth of our country. That is the general, that is the planning objective. To achieve that economic planning, we will be making some plan objective. Thus agriculture sector, the industrial sector must be increased by so and so rate, so that after a specific period of time we can attain the general objective. They aim at structural changes, but plan objective aim at quantitative changes. There are perspective plan, there are 5-year plan. Their objective relate to growth, modernization, self-reliance and equity, but plan objective depends only two things, growth and equality. Objectives of planning in India. Main long-term objectives of planning, let us see. Very first, modernization. It refers to adoption of new technology, new methods of production and changes in social outlook. Today's generation, we don't have to tell what is modernization because they themselves know the modernization means what. So the modernization was the very first objective. It was the first planning made. Because of that, now we can see the modernization of our country. And we are not only seeing but we are enjoying the modernization. Example are adoption of high-yielding variety of seeds. Now it is available in the agriculture sector. Gender empowerment, definitely we can see in different fields of job. Modernization has an objective implies the use of advanced technology. Now comes students, self-reliance. Definitely India made the planning so that India become a self-reliant, not dependent on other countries. They can be more and more working on their own. Self-reliance means reducing dependence on imports of those goods which can be produced within the country itself. Every country wants to achieve self-reliance and self-dependence on imports for necessary goods. Invites foreign interference in domestic policies. India wanted to be self-reliant, which makes it what? Self-sufficiency in food grains, fall in foreign and aid and reduce dependence on import, which is possible when there is growth in domestic production. Rise in exports, rise in contribution of industries in gross domestic product, GDP, etc. Now comes economic growth today. When we talk about the economic growth, here the point comes the growth of the whole nation together. Per capita, if the people development will be done, definitely our economic growth can be seen. So economic growth is an increase in the aggregate output of goods and services in a country in a given period of time. So that definitely when the aggregate output will increase, the sale will increase, profit will increase. So that will result in the economic development of our nation. Economic growth implies a sustained expansion in economic activities, trade, agriculture, industry, etc. Over a long period of time, when an economy attains such a stage of growth, it does not require the assistance of external agencies. Definitely, it will not require the dependency on the foreign countries anymore. So this was the main aim of our to achieve the economic planning. The indicator of economic growth is GDP, gross domestic product, which you learnt in the macroeconomics. You know, it is help us to know our economic progress in among all the other nations. So that only the contribution made by each sector of an economy helps to know how much the GDP is increasing and increasing or it needs to be increased. Next come equity student. When we talk about equity student, it deals with equality. Equity refers to reduction in inequality of income and wealth, which was India was facing. Though India got independent, but there were many types of inequalities going in our country. Gender inequality was there, then the caste inequalities was there. Many types of inequalities still existing, and that results in the unequal distribution of income and wealth also. Poorer was becoming poorer and richer people were becoming more rich. So to remove this type of hindrances, what was the equity was made. The socialist pattern of our society aims at raising the standard of living of all people and promoting social justice by reducing inequalities of income and wealth. Economic inequalities can be reduced by redistribution of land in rural areas, progressive taxation, licensing policy, check on monopolistic tendencies, etc. Equity can be raised by uplifting weaker sections of the society. The weaker sections of the society are the landless workers, small and marginal farmers, economically poor and backward people, handicapped people. To make this people upwards, economic equality was brought in the economic planning. So that was today's chapter topic student. Thank you for today's class. Next class onward we will start the first planning, second planning we will go. Today I won't be starting the planning first because if it will get over, the second planning explanation will be needed. So I am stopping today's class this much only with the explanation of economic plan, its need and all. Tomorrow's class I will be taking the planning from 1950 till 1990. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.